Hi everyone, welcome back to the Pro MMA Betting Podcast. As always, just if we have a recap on the week just gone first before we start talking about UFC 237 this coming Saturday. So really good weekend for members. We had a complete clean sweep on the card with regards to pre-bets. We won about 4 units profit on pre-bets, and we also made profit on live betting for about 2 units. So in total, about 6 units profit for members over the weekend, which pushes members who bet £100 or $100 per unit to the £7,000 or $7,000 profit line for 2019. Anyone that's a £100 per unit or $100 per unit better, my target at the start of the year was for you guys to make 20,000, and we're about a third of the way through the UFC event, so we're on course for that at the moment. It takes us to 12-2 out of the 14 UFC events so far. So we've won on 12 UFC events, we've only lost on the 2, so we've got a really good hit ratio going. Please take a look at the website for the subscription packages, guys. It's prommmabetting.com. The packages are very reasonable. People that are members that are utilising the pre-bets and the live betting service are easily covering the cost that they're putting forward to be a member. £7,000, like I said, if you bet $100 per unit, or in pounds or dollars already. So it's been a really successful start to the year. So have a look at the packages. They're all reasonably priced. Most people try a month to begin with just to get a feel for the package, get a feel for a few UFC events. We offer pre-betting service, we offer live betting service, and we offer both combined. The live betting works through Discord. You just get a link to the private chat. You need to download Discord. You can listen to the tips audially. There is a mic set up. I have a mic plugged in that I speak through, so you can hear what the tips are, so you get them as soon as I'm thinking about playing them. But some guys have problems with the audio side of things, so I do type the tips as well. And the live betting's just gone from strength to strength, so I'd urge anyone that does want to get a membership to subscribe to both. We are profiting on pre-bets and we are profiting on live betting, so why limit yourself to one or the other? Both are proving really profitable services. Please give me a follow on Twitter at ProMMABetting, and please hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel, trying to get the followers to 500 as quickly as possible. Predictions for the whole card, we went 7-5 last weekend, so just about kept my head above water in terms of picking more right than wrong. I don't think I've had one UFC yet where I've predicted more wrong than I have right, so I'm trying to keep that going, see how long we can keep that going for. The hit rate across the whole UFC shows, I think I'm running at about 2-1 at the moment. Kind of get every 2 right for every 1 wrong, so not doing too badly. But obviously we pick our spots with actual bets. Remember, when I'm making predictions on fights, they aren't necessarily fights I'm betting on. I don't bet on every fight. I'm a lot choosier, a lot pickier with the bets I make, and you can see that from the success we've had in terms of profiting on pre-bets. 12 out of 14 UFC events so far. So give the service a go, guys. It's pretty much a money maker. Not going to lose money on it if you give it long enough. We are profitable. We've been doing this for years now. I've made money year on year for many years, and it's definitely changed my life. I've been very fortunate. So have a look at the website prommmabetting.com, and now we're going to look at the UFC 237 card, break down every fight from top to bottom. First fight on the card is in the women's bantamweight division. We've got Talita Bernardo taking on the debuting Melissa Gatto. Talita been in the UFC 3 times now, made her debut on short notice against Marion Renault. Had a strong first round, managed to get Marion down, keep top control for most of the first round, but short notice ultimately paid dividends for Renault, as Talita gassed out badly and she ended up getting stopped late in the 3rd round from, I think it was from mount position. She then took on Irene Aldana, lost that fight over 3 rounds, had a little bit of success in round 2 with getting Aldana down and getting some top control, but Aldana just on a different level to Bernardo, and she's coming off a win over Sarah Moraz, who she just dominated for 3 rounds from top position basically. Just got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Bernardo, she's actually got some decent body kicks. She throws with some venom, hands as well, throws with some venom. Not the most technical, but definitely got a bit of power there. And her kicks to the body actually aren't too bad. But predominantly her aim is to get this fight to the mat, or get any fight to the mat, and use her heavy top control. Melissa Gatto, 23 years of age, just received her purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Tape on her isn't very inspiring. She doesn't look ready for the UFC. I watched her last 2 fights. She's got a draw with Sidi Rocha, which she probably should have lost. It's very hard for me to judge fights when I'm capping them, but it looked to me like she lost that fight. Not sure how she really got a draw there, but it was bad. She got taken down very easily. Looked sloppy on the feet. Her next fight, she took on Caroline Rosa Cavido, who, looking at her record, I'm not too familiar with her, but looking at her record, she's not a complete scrub. And she was taking Gatto down and ultimately got caught from the bottom. So Bernardo needs to be careful here. Gatto's obviously got some semblance of a bottom game if she caught Cavido, and Bernardo is probably going to spend a lot of this fight from top position, but ultimately Bernardo should be way too much for her here. The line actually opened, it was sitting at -150 for quite some time, a few days I think. Dropped to around -200, was sitting there for a while. I think that was a great price if anyone managed to jump on that, and as I said, it was available for a number of days. It wasn't like it spiked quickly like the lines normally do. Price has changed significantly now. She's up at -500 now, or -550 in fact. So people have really jumped on board the Bernardo train once they've done tape, and yeah, I think anyone that managed to get the -150, -200, that's a really solid line. I can't condone playing low level women's MMA at a price tag of -550, but yeah, if you manage to get that early line, and as I said, it was sitting there for a few days, I think that's going to cash for you, so congratulations. But yeah, Bernardo, I think if she doesn't win a dominant decision, I think she can probably submit Gatto, but I'll say today to a 30-27 dominant decision win. We've got Renaud Barcelos taking on Carlos Quiroz in the men's bantamweight division next. Again, Barcelos' line was sitting at around -300 for a few days, so anyone that managed to get tape in early had ample opportunity to take advantage of that line. It's now jumped up to -700. Barcelos, he needs to get a move on. He's nearly 35 years of age, but he's looked very impressive in the UFC so far. Made his debut against Kurt Holobaugh, stopped him in round 3 with strikes, showed some really nice striking, some really nice takedowns, and he's coming off a destruction of Gutierrez. Pretty competitive on the feet, but took him down and just dominated him on the ground. So Barcelos is very well rounded, good striking, good takedowns, good ground game. Quiroz, a young chap, only 22 years of age, throws with heat, he's got some power, aggressive stand up, but it's still pretty raw. There's a fight online you can watch where he gets tapped by a knee bar. For whatever reason, the referee allows the fight to carry on, and he ultimately gets the victory in the second round, but a very dubious victory. But yeah, Quiroz doesn't look ready for the UFC quite yet. It's still very raw, and he's got a big test here in Barcelona. So if you manage to get that -300 line, again, congratulations. It was sitting there for a few days. I remember when the line first came out, I was shocked that it took a while, like a few days to spike. It's now up at -700, which is very difficult to play, to justify on pretty much anyone in MMA. What did catch my eye though was fight doesn't go to a decision is -260. I think that's decent parlay fodder. And also Barcelos inside the distance -180. I think compared to his money line, I think either of those lines are the right option now, and I'd be pretty surprised if neither of them cashed. Fight doesn't go to decision, just covers you in case Quiroz manages to pull something out the bag. He does hit hard and he is aggressive, but Barcelos inside the distance, if you think he wins, I think it's highly likely he finishes this guy, and it gives you a discount of over 5 points on his money line, so I definitely think that's the route to go now. But yeah, very confident that Barcelos gets the job done there. Men's welterweight division next. Quite an intriguing fight, quite a difficult fight to call. In fact, we've got Vivi Alves taking on Sergio Morales. I kind of lost faith in Vivi Alves. He's never, since he made his UFC debut, he looked promising, but the guy just hasn't developed at all. Has severe cardio problems. I think that's going to plague him throughout his whole career. He had always shown a solid chin, but he's coming off a stoppage loss to James Krause. James Krause, I don't know whether James looked really good in that fight or Wally just didn't look great, or whether it was a combination of both. I haven't really seen anyone talk about it, but I also wonder if Wally is a USADA victim as well. I don't know if he doesn't seem to be as explosive as he used to be. Now I understand he's probably trying to rein it in a little bit to cover his cardio, but just seems a little bit flatter. I mean, you look at his last 3 fights. Salim Touari won a decision win. Wasn't an overly impressive performance. Kind of, he won the fight, but against Salim Touari, you'd expect a bit more of an impressive performance from Wally. I mean, he was on short notice, Salim. Maybe he was an unknown quantity. But then the Sultan Ali fight, I bet on Wally in that fight, and he got the stoppage win at the end of the second round due to the grotesque hematoma or swelling that Ali had around his eye. But again, I wasn't overly impressed with his performance in that fight either. And then he's coming off the fight with James Krause, where James Krause just made him look terrible. So yeah, I've just not seen the improvements from Wally that I anticipated. I don't think we're going to now. I do wonder if USADA is an issue for him. He's got that gas tank issue. I mean, he's a decent kickboxer. Sergio Morales is going to find it very difficult to get Wally to the floor. Sergio doesn't show the best fight IQ at the best of times. Doesn't tend to go for takedowns too often, and when he does, they're not the best. I really can't see him getting Wally down. I think the only way he gets Wally or gets on top of Wally is if Wally goes for that patented guillotine, and it wouldn't shock me. Sergio escapes and ends up on top position. Otherwise, I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. Sergio is very awkward standing. Technically, he's not good, but he is awkward to deal with, and you can see people that he's fought in the past have had difficulty striking with him. We saw Tim Means struggle with. Tim did win that fight. Sergio got the decision in Brazil, but it was still, still a fairly competitive fight, and it was close, and Sergio was landing some big shots. And you saw how someone like Tim Means, who's a decent, solid striker, quite technical, quite kind of conventional, just struggle with the big looping power shots that Morales throws. So there's a possibility he could give Wally some problems in that sense, but Sergio's coming off the loss to Anthony Rocco Martin, where he got kind of comfortably outstruck for the 3 rounds. I think Wally just needs to use or needs to be measured with his striking, like he has been trying to do. But I don't really know if Vivi Alves' style suits being a measured striker. I think he's trying to be something he isn't because he's worried about his cardio, and it's kind of taken away that X factor that he had. And obviously his cardio was causing him problems, but I think also fighting like he is now, like a little bit safer, just makes him a less dangerous fighter. So I just don't really know where Wally's going, but this is a winnable fight for him because he can out-kickbox Sergio Morales. So I'm going to pick Wally to win a decision, but I would not be shocked if he ends up struggling with Sergio's kind of big haymakers and he starts to slow down. But I think he's going to win a rather lackluster decision here, and I don't see Sergio being able to get this fight to the floor. Wally is an athletic guy, but Wally would be wise not to drop for that guillotine in this fight. If the opportunity presents itself, just leave it alone. You don't want to put yourself on your back against Sergio. He's far better keeping it standing and just trying to out-kickbox Sergio, which he probably can. Wally opened as a decent favourite. He was at, let's have a look, he opened at minus 160. I thought I saw him a bit wider than that. I thought I saw him open around minus 200. He's now down at minus 145, which I don't know, seems probably pretty accurate, but I have a hard time trusting Wally. It's not a fight that I personally would bet. As I said, I bet Wally against Sultan. I wasn't overly impressed. I wasn't overly impressed against Salim, even though he won both fights. And then the James Krause fight, it just did not look good at all. I just don't know where he's at. I think he's kind of a bit caught between a rock and a hard place at the moment with regards to he doesn't know how to fight now because he doesn't want to be balls to the wall because it gasses him, but being a more patient, measured striker doesn't really suit his style either. So yeah, this is a winnable fight for him though, so I'll pick Worley to win by decision, but I don't trust the guy as a favourite. I mean, he's only a slight favourite, but to bet him, I want that line to be a bit tighter. I think he needs to show me something because I've just not been overly impressed in his last 3 performances. Women's flyweight division next, we've got Luana Carolina taking on Priscila Cachoeira. Priscilla, I mean, we've seen her a couple of times in the UFC now, got absolutely destroyed by Valentina, coming off a loss to Molly McCann. She actually broke Molly McCann's orbital bone in round 3, and I thought the fight was going to be stopped at one point because of her eye, but they ultimately let the fight go, and so she ended up losing a decision because she clearly lost the first 2 rounds. Priscilla, she's very tough, I'll give her that, but she's very, very limited, very robotic in her striking. She's clearly got a bit of power, but she shouldn't be in the UFC. She's not UFC caliber. She's improved from her pre-UFC days. If you go and watch the tape on her pre-UFC, oh my god, she did look a bit better against Molly. But Molly, who was giving up 3 inches reach, was, I mean, in round 2, it was target practice, just landing at will. Luana Carolina is a 2-time Brazilian Muay Thai champion. We saw her on the Contender Series. She's got tall man defense or tall woman defense. That we often see with taller fighters. She can be backed up and she can be hit, but she does use all 8 weapons. Good kicks, she throws her hands, she throws elbows, she throws knees, so she is pretty dangerous in that sense. She's got reach advantage over Priscilla. We saw, if you watch her fight prior to the Contender Series, you can see between that fight and the Contender Series she made big improvements. She's had another 9 months off here. Her Instagram is stacked full of training photos and videos, so she seems to be taking this very seriously. I definitely think she's got the higher upside to Priscilla. She is a rangy striker. I don't know how far she can go. It's hard to gauge because she is still raw. You can see that in her Contender Series fight, but she's got some decent striking. Priscilla is going to be able to land unless Luana has worked on angling off, on not being so linear, but I just think Luana will outclass her across the 3 rounds. I'm expecting improvements again from Luana here. As I said, she made a big jump from her fight before the Contender Series to the Contender Series fight, and she's had another 9 months here, so I'm expecting more improvement, and I think ultimately she's going to win a decision. Priscilla's very tough. She's very tough to finish. I don't expect Luana to get her out of there. But Luana also showed to me that fundamentally she's pretty well trained. She got taken down, I think it was in round 2 in her Contender Series fight. She used the whizzer really, really well to get back to her feet, and particularly in women's MMA, the whizzer is something that they just, a lot of women don't utilise. So it shows she's got solid fundamentals to me, and yeah, I'm fairly confident. I know a lot of people are on the fence here and think this is a bit of a kind of slobber knocker and, you know, real low level, and it is a low level fight, but I've got faith in Carolina actually looking more improved in this fight since her Contender Series fight, and I think across 3 rounds she's going to outstrike Priscilla and win a fairly comfortable decision. In my opinion, this is the last chance to fade Priscilla. I think this is going to be her last fight in the UFC, and I never expected to get a minus 150 line. It's gone up to minus 170 now. In fact, it was sitting at minus 150 for a while. But yeah, I didn't expect to get a minus 150 line against Priscilla, but unfortunately it's Luana Carolina that she's facing with that line. It's not someone that maybe I could have a bit more trust in it, in which case I could, be pretty confident in unloading, but it is a low level fight. I am making some assumptions about Carolina and her improvements, which is dangerous. If she hasn't made any leaps, then this fight could be a lot closer than potentially I'm predicting it will be. But I do see Carolina getting the victory here, whether it's a 30-27 or a 29-28. But you might prefer an even line, to be fair. Fight to go to a decision is -285, not overly appealing. Carolina to win by decision is even money. I'm not really a prop better because I don't like the thought of betting someone to win by decision, betting that over the money line for the sake of 0.7 points, and then she knocks her out and then I lose. But in this case, Priscilla is extremely durable. I really don't see a finish. It might be worth looking at the decision. But either way, I don't recommend a big play on this fight. There are some unknowns. It is low level. There are question marks over Carolina, but I do like her here and think she wins this fight. So I'm going to take Carolina to win by decision. And yeah, I don't expect to see Priscilla in the UFC again. We move up to the first part of the main card now. So we've got the 4 fights, and then we've got the 5 on the main card. Really quickly covering this: BJ Penn, Clay Guida. I don't know why BJ is still fighting. The guy should just retire. I'm surprised the UFC are still giving him fights. I expect Clay Guida to win a decision here. I tried looking on Penn's Insta to see if he was back at Nova and Yale like he was for the last fight he took. Couldn't really work out what he's been doing or where he's been training. But yeah, the guy needs to just hang up his gloves. He's probably the most shot fighter that I've ever seen in the UFC now. It's that bad. It's quite sad really that he's still fighting. And as I said, I don't know why the UFC are giving him fights, but I'll take Clay Guida to win here. I hope it's a decision where it's just lay and pray and BJ doesn't take any damage, but I wouldn't be shocked if kind of Clay's on top of him and just kind of pounding away and ends up getting stopped. But I hope not. I hope there's no brain trauma for BJ and it's a lackluster decision loss, but I just can't pick BJ in this spot. Betting Clay Guida is a -600 favourite. I think I'll pass on that as well. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I just wish he'd retire. Next, we've got Bethe Correia taking on Irene Aldana in the women's bantamweight division. Bethe has been out for a couple of years now. She's had some eye problems, I believe. I think detached retina, I read. She had it detached twice, 2 different fights in the UFC. So she's coming back from a serious eye injury. It'd be interesting to see if this does affect her mentally here, in terms of is she going to be a bit gun shy, because you're kind of messing around with your eyesight there. Should she even really be back fighting? I mean, obviously she's been medically cleared, but if you've had it done twice, I'm sure there's a weakness there. Very dangerous to be messing around with your eyesight. But yeah, she's coming off a brutal knockout loss to Holly Holm as well. Got head kicked, was out cold. Before that, draw with Marion Renault. She was 2 rounds up, but she got caught with a head kick in the 3rd round and was kind of out on her feet. And Marion managed to get a 10-8 round. She got stopped by Ronda Rousey. Ronda pretty much one-punched her. But she gets a lot of stick, Bethe, because she's not very athletic. There's that gift that you've probably seen of her doing the jumps in the cage, and she just looks so unathletic. But I don't think she's as bad as people make out. I mean, if you look at her record, the Ronda fight aside, the Raquel Pennington fight went to a split decision. Jéssica Rai went to a split decision. Marion Renault was a draw. And I mean, she was 2 rounds up, I think, against Holly Holm. I mean, you can say the Jéssica Rai decision was a bad decision, but either way, it's still a fairly competitive fight. It's not like she's been going in, besides the Ronda fight, and getting blown away. She's been competitive with people, so we've got to tread a little bit carefully in terms of not completely disregarding Bethe, despite stylistically this looking a tough fight for her. Irene Aldana is she's a beast. She's got a 4-inch reach advantage. She's got a 4-inch height advantage. She's younger. She's got very high volume. She's got good stand up. She's very tough to take down. She's very hittable though. I don't think she reacts the best to being hit either, Irene. And if you look at her UFC record, at Savage by Leslie Smith, lost to Caitlin Chikagan, albeit very close fight, could have gone either way. Beat Tadito Bernardo, and she's coming off that war with Lucy Pudilova. So, all of her fights in the UFC besides the Bernardo fight have been either a loss or very competitive decision wins or losses. So it's not like she's been going out and blowing people away, despite on paper. But then actually, if you look at it, Caitlin Chikagan is tough, very tough to look good against. She's a similar range to Irene as well. Talita, she overwhelmed on the feet quite comfortably. And Lucy Pudilova though is, similar kind of range to Irene as well. Quite lanky, absolute savage as well. So, she has fought in Pudilova and Leslie Smith, two savages, and then Caitlin Chikagan is difficult to look good against. So maybe she's just not had the right stylistic fight yet in the UFC. But I think here, this probably, besides the Bernardo fight, and Bernardo is a grappler, so Aldana did probably have the takedown threat in the back of her mind, especially after round 2. But this is probably the best fight she's had stylistically in terms of the bet she's going to stand with her. She doesn't really go for takedowns. She's got leverage advantages here in height and reach, and Bethe is probably, you could say, a little bit chinny, and Irene does hit hard, so potentially on paper this could be Irene Aldana's breakout performance. The line now is up at, I think, minus 285 for Irene, minus 280. A little bit higher for my liking, because as I said, Bethe does have a habit of making fights close, but on paper this does look like Irene's chance to shine, the best chance she's had in the UFC in terms of not having to worry about takedowns and having that reach and height advantage, and having someone in front of her who maybe is a little bit chinny, might have some mental doubt with the eye injuries she's coming back from, 2 years out as well. X factor is it is in Brazil, so it's going to be a cauldron, so she needs to kind of block that out. But yeah, I think potentially we could see Irene's best performance in the UFC today, and I wouldn't be shocked if she actually puts Bethe away here. What is inside the distance for Irene? Minus 235. I thought it might be a little bit better than that. But yeah, the pick is Irene, but maybe the money line's a little bit higher now. Minus 280. Women's MMA. Someone that's maybe underachieved in the UFC so far. Is that because it's the big lights, or is it the style fights she's had? I think probably the style fights, and this is her chance to shine. If this isn't a dominant display from Irene Aldana, then I'll be very disappointed, and I think her ceiling would have been hit. But I'm expecting a solid performance here, and I would not be shocked if she actually puts Bethe away. So I'll go with Irene inside the distance here. TKO victory. Men's lightweight division next, we've got Thiago Moises taking on Kurt Holobaugh. Kurt returning to the lightweight division here. He's not fought at lightweight for a little while. He's got 3-inch reach advantage over Thiago. Says he's got a 2-inch height advantage, but Kurt isn't 5'11". I know he's not. I think they're going to be a similar. If Thiago's height is correct, I think they're probably a similar height, both at around 5'9". But Kurt does have the reach advantage. It's hard to gauge Thiago's stats because they're just going off the Dariush fight. Kurt's had more fights in the UFC. You can see that from the stats that Kurt's a high volume guy, but he eats a lot of shots as well. Doesn't really go for takedowns. He's kind of happy to stand and use his boxing. He's got a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, 3rd stripe, so he's bordering black belt level. But yeah, this is going to be an entertaining fight. Kurt he's been do or die so far in his UFC run. We saw him on the Contender Series where he blew away Matt Bessette. ultimately got overturned. I'm assuming he got clocked for some kind of drug or whatever it was. So yeah, it was overturned. But he made his debut against Renaud Barcelos. Very entertaining fight. Barcelos, I had him 2 rounds up, but it was a competitive fight. He was eating some shots from Renaud. He was getting taken down, but he was landing some good shots himself. And then he's coming off the loss to Shane Burgos, who he looked really good against. Was outstriking Shane the first couple of minutes, dropped him, followed him to the ground, knowing he got armbarred, unfortunately for Kurt. So yeah, solid striking, but he is coming off back-to-back losses, and he's probably fighting for his job in the UFC here. So he's taken on Thiago. Made his debut on short notice against Benili Dariush. Just got taken down basically for 3 rounds. Couldn't get up from underneath Dariush and lost a dominant decision. I mean, he's only 24. Seems like he's been around for a long time, Thiago. He trains at American Top Team. He's probably going to be the bigger man here. I don't think Kurt... I mean, he doesn't seem the biggest featherweight, and he's moving up to lightweight here, so it'd be interesting to see the stare down, but I expect Thiago's probably going to be the bigger man here. I watched a number of his fights. The Robert Watley fight, he lost a 5-round decision there. He really struggled with pressure in that fight from Robert Watley. He kept getting backed up to the fence, couldn't get his striking going, just really seemed uncomfortable under pressure. The Zach Freeman fight is kind of all one-way traffic. Zach was just overmatched in that fight. And I kind of scanned through the Jamal Emmers fight. Didn't have time to watch the whole 5 rounds, but I think Jamal took that on short notice and ultimately slowed down and got stopped in the 5th round. Looked pretty competitive first few rounds, and he beat a guy on the Contender Series. Guy was well overmatched, and beat Jeff Peterson. Fight before that in LFA, which again, I couldn't even find the tape for that, just found highlights. So for me, the Robert Watley fight was almost 2 years ago now, so Moises was only 21, 22, so real young guy. He might have made big improvements. He's at American Top Team. What I need to know is how he deals with pressure now, and still don't really know if that's improved or not. The Jeff Peterson fight I can't find. The Contender Series fight, he was just a different league to the guy he fought, and it was over in the 1st round. And then the Dariush fight, Dariush pretty much just kept taking him down. Dariush did back him up on a couple of occasions with strikes, but literally you just got a couple of instances of it, but that does suggest to me that he still might struggle with pressure, and it's something that Kurt does bring in spades. Very high pressure fighter. Thiago's someone that I've kind of been waiting for him to kind of make his breakout performance for a little while, because he's still so young. He's only 24, but it's not really happened yet, so I'm not sure how much more he's going to improve. He's still young, so there's still plenty of room there for growth and improvement, but I don't know, I've just been expecting a breakout performance from him, and it's not really happened yet. Yeah, this is a hard one for me to call, because I would like to have seen how he reacted under pressure, and we've just not seen it for pretty much 2 years, except for a couple of instances against Dariush, and it didn't overwhelm me with confidence that it's something that he can now deal with. I mean, there is the potential he could take Kurt down and get a submission, but not really Thiago's game. And I mean, we saw him do that helicopter submission on David Castillo a few years ago, so he's a talented submission guy. But I mean, Kurt managed to get up from under Barcelos on numerous occasions, so a hard fight to be overly confident in. But you know, there's a betting podcast, I always say that, and as a betting man, Kurt's been sitting at plus 130 for, well, pretty much since the line came out, I believe. He's actually come down there. He's plus 110. So kind of plus 130. I was going to say, if you're a bettor, I think Kurt is the right side. Shortening now to an even money fight, and probably going to close as an even money fight. It's probably a fight to pass on, but I am going to pick Kurt here. I just haven't really. I mean, the way Thiago, I know he took it on short notice, but he just got dominated by Dariush for those 3 rounds. Like, just shut down completely. Just haven't seen him make that breakout performance, and maybe he's not going to be as good as I potentially thought he was going to be. You know, he was mixing with good fighters, really young, winning the fights. But yeah, just not seeing that breakout performance. So I'm going to go with Kurt here, but it's a tough fight to call. Line's getting closer to even there, which just makes it kind of no value really on Kurt. The plus 130 there was probably worth a little bet, but it's probably a good fight to live bet. If you do live bet, it's probably one to keep an eye on. See how Thiago's coping with that pressure early on. Is he backing up into the fence? Is he being linear, going back in straight lines? Because that was the blueprint that Whatley laid out, and he won all 5 rounds dominantly. I mean, he did mix in some fence control, but ultimately he was just backing him up with strikes, and Thiago just didn't like it and didn't have much answer off the back foot. So I'll go with Kurt to win a decision, but real competitive fight, and it's a big fight for Thiago. This is his chance to make a breakout performance. If he doesn't win this fight, then I don't know where he's going to go from here. He might need to. It might be best for him to be cut from the UFC again, cut his teeth again on a lower league, just to see if he can, because I think he's got potential. He just doesn't seem to have hit that potential. But he's young, so there's plenty of room there for him to come again. But I'm going to go with Kurt here, but really tough fight to call this one. Men's light heavyweight division next. We've got Antônio Rogério Nogueira, otherwise known as Lil Nog, taking on Ryan Spann. This is in Brazil, so Lil Nog's fighting at home. He is 43 or almost 43. You know, he is looking old physically. Just in the face, he looks old. Doesn't seem to take shots particularly well now. Saw Sam Alvey kind of stun him. I mean, I know Alvey does hit hard, but he seemed to stun him from the only shot he really landed towards the end of the first round. But having said that, Lil Nog, he's got good boxing. He's a very good fighter. Brother of Big Nog, as he was known. He's coming off a win over Sam Alvey, who he put away with strikes. Fight before that, he got stopped in Brazil by Ryan Bader, but he rocked Ryan Bader, or at least stun him in the first round, and it actually resulted in Ryan going straight into wrestler mode for the rest of the fight. So the guy's got power, he can hit you. Stopped Pat Cummins before that as well. Ryan Spann, I mean, you look at the kind of athletically, he's the better athlete, he's faster, he's 6'5", he's taller, he's got, I think it's a 6-inch reach advantage. So on paper, you know, you'd expect him to put Rogério away. He's 27 years of age, 16 years younger. But when you watch the tape on him, he's just not overly impressive. Just wasn't impressed from the tape I watched at all. I think he might be a bit chinny as well. The elbows Carl Robertson put him away with, they weren't big elbows. He's been stopped twice. Robertson stopped him, and he's also got a stoppage loss to Brandon Farron years ago. But both the TKO losses were really early. So maybe it's a case of he's just been caught cold. Maybe just needs a few minutes to warm up. But having said that, Alex Nicholson had him in trouble in the first round, and he just doesn't seem to react well to getting hit at all. Made his UFC debut against Luis Enrique. He's won a decision there, but I mean, it wasn't an overly impressive performance there for me either. Stand-up just doesn't look that great to me now. Obviously, he could catch Lil Nog. He had a nice right hand that he landed on Myron Dennis that put Myron away. You know, if he does land, there's a definite chance he could stun Lil Nog, and he can then follow up and just finish him. But I think there's an equally good chance that Lil Nog can put Ryan Spann away here. Now the line was sitting at about minus 150 for Lil Nog at one point. It's come down a bit now, plus 125. But I think at plus 150 there was definitely a bit of value on Lil Nog. Now you can't go big because of his age, his durability. But I'm not sold on Ryan Spann at all. as I said, he could put Lil Nog away here, and betting Lil Nog, you might look stupid because he's athletically, it's every reason that he should be putting someone like Lil Nog away at this stage of his career, but just haven't been overly blown away with his performances. And it's also interesting, he's only got 3 KO wins, so I'm not even sure if he's a huge puncher. He has won 2 of his last 4 fights by punches, which suggests that maybe he's just starting to find his striking and his power and settling down into his punches. That's something to always bear in mind. Sometimes it does take fighters a little while to work out their stand up and learn to sit down on their punches and really use their kind of athletic gifts. So perhaps that is starting to happen, but perhaps he just doesn't hit that hard, and you probably haven't got to hit that hard in this day and age to put Lil Nog away. That is the worry, but it's not like he's a huge monster puncher, and Lil Nog hits hard, and he fights southpaw as well, so that straight left down the pipe, it's going to be there, but he's got to get inside Spann because of the reach disadvantage, so there is a chance he could be caught coming in. But I think at the current line it is sitting at -145 for Spann. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up closing close to evens. I mean, it's slowly coming down. Lil Nog's +125 now. Look, I'm not saying bet Lil Nog here because there's a lot of reasons not to, especially now the line's come down, but I definitely couldn't trust my money on Ryan Spann either as a favourite. Just hasn't blown me away. I'm going to pick Lil Nog here. Could come back and bite me in the arse because I can completely see how Spann can win, but I'm going to go with the old man to pull out one more victory, and if he does win, hopefully he retires, goes out on a back-to-back wins in Brazil. He's 43, there's no need to carry on beyond that, so I'm going to go with Lil Nog, but on paper there's every reason to believe he does get KO'd here. Next is the men's welterweight division. It's the first fight of the main card. This is a pay-per-view card in Brazil. We've got Laureano's Staropoli taking on Thiago Alves. Staropoli, he got a lot of stick before the Aldana fight. I remember lots and lots of people were betting Aldana in that fight because people were going off tape that was like 2 years old. Hopefully people learnt a lesson in that I learnt a long time ago. You can't confidently bet against someone going off tape that's a couple of years old. I've been burnt doing that in the past, and sometimes you'll get away with it, but fighters make big improvements in the space of a couple of years. You can't be going off tape that's that old. And I mean, I know it was Hector Aldana, but Staropoli looked really solid in that fight. Very good cardio. He set a high pace. Good combinations. He is there to be hit. He can get a little bit reckless with his shots, but I mean, if you compared the kind of tape from a couple of years prior that everyone was going off of, it was night and day. He trains at Shooter Box. I think he's at the same gym that Charles Oliveira trains at. No, in fact, it's not Shooter Box, I don't think. Let me have a little look. Yeah, no, it is the gym Charles Oliveira trains at. So, yeah, this is a hard fight to call because we don't know how good he actually is or how much he's improved, because Aldana's just not the best opponent. But Thiago Alves, I mean, Thiago's been around a long time now. He's definitely on the decline. USADA hit him hard. I don't care what anyone says, he was definitely juicing. Physique changed dramatically. But I mean, he's coming off a decent performance against Max Griffin. I think he probably should have lost that fight. I mean, re-watching it, round 3 wasn't as one-sided as I thought it was, but Griffin probably still should have got that decision. But I mean, he showed really good heart. He got hurt in the first round, dropped a couple of times, came back. He had Griffin in trouble in round 2, but he's definitely on the decline. He's 35 years of age now. He's still pretty durable though. I mean, you look at the stoppage losses. He lost to John Fitch from a kind of fluky up kick. We're talking like 13 years ago. Carlos Condit stopped him. That was due to his nose. I think they stopped that fight, if I remember rightly. It wasn't an actual kind of Thiago Alves being out cold. So the only actual kind of proper KO loss he's got is the Curtis Millender fight. I think this is going to be a wild fight. I can see them both exchanging in the pocket quite a lot, both landing shots. Probably going to go with Thiago Alves. He's actually the underdog last time I looked, like very slight underdog, but he's actually the favourite now, -115, so very slight favourite now. But yeah, it's a hard fight to be confident in because Staropoli's definitely improved, but it was Hector Aldana he fought, but he did win that fight very decisively, won all 3 rounds. Thiago, not the fighter he was, but you know, he had Max Griffin in trouble. The Konchenko fight, the first couple of rounds were pretty close. I mean, neither really done much in the first 2 rounds, but that was pretty close. Before Millinder, he took out Cote. Well, he didn't actually take him out, he dropped him a few times, but won a decision, and Cote retired. So, you know, what kind of version of Cote was that? So, it's a hard one to be confident in. I don't see how anyone can go big on this fight, but I think you have to go with Alves. He is coming off a decent display against Max Griffin, who's a solid fighter. But yeah, betting on Alves, we're putting faith in his chin, still holding up, and like I said, he has proven to be durable, but it is starting to wane, definitely, because he's coming off the Millinder KO loss, and Griffin had him hurt a couple of times, so that chin is starting to crack. And he's not the fighter he was. He is on the decline. But is Staropoli good enough to beat the current version of Thiago Alves? It's going to be a stand-up fight. I'm not sure. Thiago's been dealing with quite big reach disadvantages as well against Curtis Millinder and Max Griffin anyway. So he's had to work hard to get inside. Staropoli, he's not going to have that kind of range to try and work out. He's going to be able to just let his hands go and land on Staropoli. So has Staropoli's chin going to hold up? He's going to be firing back at Alves. How's Alves is going to hold up? So interesting fight. It's definitely tell us kind of where Staropoli's going and if he is a potential prospect moving forward, and if Alves, you know, is going to have anything left. This is the kind of fight he needs to be winning. So we're going to get answers to questions that I just can't answer at this stage. So I do think Alves is the right side, but it's just I just can't be confident betting him not big anyway, because he's definitely on the decline, and it's always a dangerous proposition betting on a declining fighter against someone who potentially could be making a solid move. But it's just hard to know how good Staropoli is because he fought Hector Aldana. So I'll pick Alves. I'd pick him to win a competitive decision in an entertaining fight, but it's not a confident prediction. But you've got to go with the veteran, the guy that's proven himself time and time again. And even though he's on the decline and was coming off them back-to-back losses, he controversial. He's still got a victory over Max Griffin and still had Max in trouble in round 2. And I mean, ultimately, he only lost, if you think he lost the 3rd round, because Max managed to out-wrestle him. It was all Thiago on the feet, round 2 and 3. So I'll go with Thiago decision. I just realised I missed the Trinaldo Diego Ferreira fight, which is the first fight on the main card, not the Alves fight. This is a tough fight to call. Trinaldo, he's got solid takedown defence, throws a real venom, kind of looping shots. He's got some good kicks, which also can work against him sometimes, because that is how he does get taken down. It's off of the kicks. His actual takedown defence is really solid, but can have his kicks caught, but throws hard. Hurt Kevin Lee to the body with a big liver shot. 40 years of age now. I've kind of avoided betting Trinaldo because I just expected him to drop off any fight, and it's just not happened. The guy just keeps coming. But surely it's happening at some point soon. 40 years of age now, fighting at lightweight, and he's big lightweight as well. Carlos Diego Ferreira, he had that long layoff. He's come back, but he's looked really good. 3 very impressive victories. Coming off that last win over Kabilov, pretty dominant victory. He's got decent hands, very, very good grappling, but his takedowns do let him down. So I do think this fight is going to be on the feet. I don't think Ferreira can get Trinaldo down unless he can catch a kick and hit a takedown off of a kick. So if this is going to be a 3-round kickboxing fight, it's going to be competitive. I mean, you look at Trinaldo, he's been in UFC a long time now, and it's not really, no one's outstruck him except for James Vick, who managed to take the first 2 rounds, and Trinaldo managed to get to him with his pressure in round 3. But he's a tough guy to beat on the feet, Trinaldo. He's not easy. We saw him, he beat Paul Felder. So it's not going to be easy for Ferreira to win this on the feet. He's definitely got a big advantage on the floor if he can get him down, but I'm not sure he can. I expect this to be on the feet. So for me, again, another fight I can't be overly confident on. It's not one to go big on, in my opinion, if you are a bettor, but I think the value's on Trinaldo. He's almost a plus 150 underdog. The guy wins fights in the UFC. He doesn't lose very often. Like I said, his age is a concern because he could fall off at any point. But he's tough as they come. He's never been knocked out. He did get hurt by Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee caught him with a head kick, and it was beginning of the end basically. But still, he's never been stopped by strikes. But the danger here is if he ends up on the floor, the submission threat from Ferreira. But I'll go with Trinaldo here to win a decision by doing enough on the feet against Ferreira. But Ferreira's hands have improved a lot. I mean, I remember betting Dustin Poirier against him years ago now, but it seems like he's definitely improved with his hands since then. He's pretty aggressive. He is there to be hit, and Trinaldo can be a little bit low volume, and Trinaldo isn't technically as sound. He is more of a looping kind of puncher, but he does have power if he connects. So it's a tough one to call this, but as a bettor for me at plus 150, I think Trinaldo is worth a bet, but it definitely isn't a big bet because this fight could definitely go either way. And as I said, if it does end up on the floor, if he doesn't get a submission, the round potentially is gone. Although Trinaldo has shown that he's got a decent ability to get back to his feet, but Ferreira is probably on a different level on the ground to anyone he's really fought in his UFC tenure. So yeah, he needs to be careful with his kicks here. I mean, they're a big part of his game, so I'm not saying don't throw them, but he needs to be very careful he doesn't have one caught and put on his back. He wants this on the feet, and I think on the feet it's a very close fight, so I think I expect it to be on the feet for 3 rounds pretty much. So at plus 150 and a close fight, I think the value is with Trinaldo, but a hard fight to call. Men's featherweight division, José Aldo taking on Alexander Volkanovski. Really looking forward to this fight, and again, this is a tough fight to call. I've seen that people seem to be conflicted on this one. The odds suggest that as well. Aldo is a slight favourite. He's currently sitting at minus 135, so people aren't confident on this one at all, and neither am I. If it was a 5-round fight, I would definitely be leaning Volkanovski, but over 3 rounds, is that enough of a time frame for Volkanovski's pressure to start to wear Aldo down to the point that he can take 2 rounds off of him or stop Aldo? I don't know. It's a tough one to know. Aldo for me, let's look at Aldo objectively here. So the man could do no wrong. He was on a massive winning streak. Then he faced Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor knocked him out very quickly. Then came back, looked great against Frankie Edgar. 5-round dominant decision win. Then he loses back-to-back fights to Max Holloway, who just drowned him in pressure basically and stopped him in the 3rd round in both fights. So then kind of everyone comes out, is this the end of Aldo? He lost to Max Holloway though. It's Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. Comes back. I've got to admit, I didn't like how he was looking against Jeremy Stephens, and if that fight had kind of gone 3 rounds, I think Stephens might have taken it, but ultimately he caught him in that body shot and put him away, and then came back against Canero and then puts Canero away. Competitive 1st round, catches him early 2nd round, puts him away. So the guy's lost to Conor McGregor and Max Holloway twice in the last, he's only got one other defeat back in 2005, so he's lost to 2 top of the food chain guys. Volkanovski, this is another step up for Volkanovski, but credit where credit's due to Volkanovski. He's been stepping up each and every time. The second round stoppage win over Chad Mendes, he just, absorbed a couple of shots that rocked him, came back, just kept the pressure on Chad. I'm not quite sure where Chad was at. He said he was retiring after that fight. Regardless, where was he mentally? He'd had the long layoff. I know he had the quick win over Jury, but he'd only had a couple of minutes in the cage. Let's have a look. Lost to Edgar in December 2015. Volkanovski was December 2018. So he'd had like 3 minutes cage time in 3 years going into the Volkanovski fight, which against someone like Volkanovski, it's definitely not the best preparation, because that guy's going to push a furious pace. It's going to make you work. But look, I'm not trying to discredit Volkanovski's win in any way, but this is another step up for him. Now his striking's been developing slowly. He's got a decent jab. He's obviously got that good, solid, powerful right hand, but he's definitely a far more limited striker than Jose Aldo. But he does bring that pressure. The wrestling for me here is a non-factor. He's not getting Aldo down. If he does, Aldo's getting straight back up. I'm not worried. I mean, he might try and lean on Aldo on the fence, but I don't think. I'm not going to say Volkanovski's not good at kind of grinding people on the fence, but he can be turned. People can escape. I don't really see that being a major issue in this fight. How I see it playing out is it's going to be on the feet for however long it lasts. Volkanovski's going to be pressuring. Is he going to be able to take what Aldo can give out? And if he can't stop Aldo, is he going to be able to get to Aldo in enough time to win rounds 2 and 3 potentially, which he might need to win here. Aldo normally starts fairly solid in round 1. So if Aldo takes round 1, then Volkanovski needs 2 and 3, and I can see him taking round 3, because I can see by round 3 the pressure's starting to get to Aldo if he's not got rid of Volkanovski. So for me, round 2 could be a huge round here, in the sense that can Volkanovski's pressure get to Aldo in time that he can start to slow and he can win round 2. It's a very hard fight to call. I think Aldo's got something left for sure. People were writing him off after the 2 Holloway losses, but Holloway's the best featherweight in the world. He's come back and proven that. He's beaten Jeremy Stevens, he's beaten Renato Canero. The guy's definitely not shot, but Volkanovski's one hungry guy. Used to weigh 215 pounds when he played rugby, so the guy's got down to 145, looks great at 145, and he clearly has big power. Can he detonate one of them big right hands on Aldo? I mean, it's definitely potentially, even though Aldo is the much better striker, there is a path for Volkanovski here. But this is a tough one to call. I was going to say Aldo, but Volkanovski, just that pressure, determination, that will to win. It's in Brazil though, and Aldo is not going to want to lose in Brazil. I'm going to pick Aldo. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I can see Aldo winning round 1. I can see him doing enough to outstrike Volkanovski. Personally, I think this fight will boil on round 2. Can Volkanovski do enough to win round 2? I think his pressure probably does start to get to Aldo by round 3, and I can see him taking round 3 off of Aldo just through pure pressure. Aldo slowing a little. So it's going to come down to round 2. Is Aldo going to use his leg kicks in this fight? I've heard a couple of different rumours as to why he stopped throwing them. I believe he's had some injuries on his, I can't remember what it was now, but it was the lower part of his leg. Also, people have said he's worried about the takedown. Maybe it is injury related. I don't, the guy's kicks are so quick and he's so good at getting back to his feet. I don't really know if he'd be too worried about the takedown threat. And Volkanovski, he's got decent takedowns, but I don't see him being able to keep Aldo down. Aldo's probably got the best takedown defence combined with get-ups that we've seen in MMA. So is he going to use his leg kicks here? I mean, imagine he mushes Volkanovski's leg in round 1 and, you know, Volkanovski can't move forward anymore. But I just don't know whether we're going to see that from Aldo. I don't know if those leg injuries are preventing him from throwing them with impunity like he used to. So, really, really interesting fight. I'm going to pick Aldo to win a decision, but I can see it being a split, potentially 29-28. I don't think either get a finish. I think Volkanovski will hang around for 3 rounds. The guy's just durable as hell. Not that he's taken much punishment yet, but I just get that impression that he's going to be tough to put away, and I just can't see Volkanovski putting Aldo away. I mean, his pressure is something else, and he does hit hard, but I just don't think. I mean, you look at who's put Aldo away: Max Holloway and Conor McGregor, and Volkanovski just isn't on their level striking. So I do see this going to a decision. I see Aldo nicking a close decision, but for me as a bettor, it's a very tough fight for me to bet on, because I can make a case for either man, but I will go with Aldo to win a tight decision here. Men's middleweight division next, co-main event, Anderson Silva taking on Jared Cannonier. Another hard fight to call really for me. So let's look at Anderson. Anderson, he's 44 now. You know, he's past his best, but a 44-year-old Anderson Silva is still more dangerous than most 44-year-old human beings that have ever fought in mixed martial arts. He's still got a style that's tricky to deal with. His chin for me hasn't gone. He just doesn't get out of the way of the shots like he used to. He just takes more shots than he used to. But if we look at the stats, he's still only been KO'd once. I know Bisping dropped him, but he didn't get him out of there. Adesanya kind of wobbled his knees at one point, but he's still only got the 1 KO loss in MMA. That's to Chris Weidman. You look at his record, it says 2, but 1 was that freak leg injury. So he is more hittable than he used to be. Doesn't maybe roll with the punches quite as well as he used to be, but he's still really dangerous. I mean, Derek Brunson probably should have got that decision over him. So when you look at it like that, you know, he got the win over Nick Diaz, it got overturned, but then you're looking at, you know, 6 consecutive losses: 2 to Weidman, 1 to Bisping, 1 to Cormier, 1 to Brunson, 1 to Israel. You know, the Israel fight was competitive. He took round 2 off Israel, and I had Israel closing a parlay for me in that fight. Now, he comfortably won the 3rd round, but I was very worried going into round 3. Now, against Jared Cannonier, Anderson he's the better striker, he's the better technician, he's very unorthodox, he's very hard to deal with. For me, Cannonier needs a knockout here, and he's definitely got the power to put Silva away. There's no question about that. This guy used to fight at heavyweight. I mean, you look at the transformation pictures, that it's absolutely staggering how he's gone from heavyweight, weighing in at, I think, 265 to now fighting at middleweight. Looked really good in his last fight against David Branch, improved takedown defence, and ultimately put him away at the start of round 2. But we've seen him put away. Dominic Hayes put him away. We saw Jan Blachowicz kind of use his wrestling pretty much. I had a bet on Cannonier in that fight, and it just didn't wake up until the 3rd round. But big hole for him is his takedown defence, which looked like it had been shored up in the Branch fight. He now trains full time at the MMA lab, so I'm sure it's something they've been working on furiously, because it's a big hole in his game. Or was a hole in his game, but it definitely looked better against Branch. But Anderson Silva's not going to take this to the floor. This is going to be a stand-up fight. So for me, I don't think Silva puts Cannonier away, but I think he can win a decision. But Cannonier can knock Silva out, definitely. I mean, Cannonier hits hard, man. He's coming down from 265 pounds. He had power, so he's definitely going to have power at middleweight, and we saw it against Branch. So can Anderson avoid getting put away? Like I said, only the 1 KO loss, but he does get hit more now. We saw Bisping put him down. We saw Israel weaken his knees. if we look at the betting line again, these top 3 fights are so tough to call. I mean, this whole main card, in fact, is just, it's tough to be confident in any fight on this main card. Cannonier's only -140. I thought it was a bigger favourite than that. It just screams pass, to be honest with you. I don't think there's value in any line here. What's Anderson decision? Silva decision +208. I think if I was gonna bet this fight, I'd probably take Anderson decision, mate. But then he's +120. You should just bet the money line if you like the play. In case Silva does end up putting him away, you know, dangerous striker like Silva over 0.8 points. Is it worth trying to be too cute? But I'm going to pick Silva to win a decision here. It's not a confident pick. Cannonier could definitely put him away at any point, but I hope Silva wins a decision and retires. He's still difficult to deal with. I can see him giving Cannonier problems on the feet, and Cannonier may only need one shot to put him away, but you know, Silva, he's tough to put away. Let's not forget that. He's had 1 KO loss, but Cannonier does possess power. And if it goes 3 rounds, he's probably going to land a few times during those 3 rounds. But the pick is Silva to win a decision, but it's not a confident pick. I'm not confident going either way, and the betting line doesn't seduce me either way either. So let's move ahead to the main event, the women's championship fight. Rose Namajunas taking on Jéssica Andrade. Another fight that's pretty tough to call here in the women's strawweight division. Rose is the champion. If we have a quick look over the stats, she's 4 inches taller. She's got 3-inch reach advantage. Similar age. Strikes landed per minute. Andrade, she's up at over 6.5. Rose 3.7. Absorbed. Rose absorbs literally the same as she lands, and Andrade absorbs 5. Significant strikes per minute. Takedowns, I don't see Rose Rose does average actually over 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. Jéssica Andrade averages over 3. But from Rose's point of view, I don't see her going anywhere near the clinch here. She's going to try and play this at range. I don't see her going for takedowns at all. She's not physically strong enough to get Andrade down. Andrade can hit takedowns. She's an absolute beast. My worry with Andrade going for takedowns in this fight is she really likes the high crotch. And there's serious danger that she could have her back taken. She's attempting that high crotch where she lifts you up. So she needs to be very careful if she goes for that here. I don't think it'll be plan A for her. I think plan A will be probably to see how this goes on the feet. But I think it would be a plan B for her if things aren't going her way on the feet. So I do see her having kind of a couple of paths there, in that she can mix in the takedowns if she wants, if she's not having as much success on the feet as she'd like. Whereas for Rose, it's just going to be the one path, which is trying to keep this as long as she can and outstriking Andrade. Andrade she's an absolute beast. She's coming off that massive 1-punch KO win against Carolina Kowalczyk. Before that, beat Tisha Torres, beat Claudia Gadelha. She beat all 3 of them comprehensively. She did drop the first round to Tisha. I bet Andrade in that fight, but she adapted and went for the takedowns basically from round 2 onwards. So we have seen a struggle with people who've got good footwork. Joanna Jędrzejczyk outstruck her for 5 rounds easily, and then we did see Tisha Torres give her problems in round 1 with her footwork. So although she is a complete beast moving forward, throws venom in her shots, if you've got decent footwork, you can give her problems. Angela Hill, she just marched down for 3 rounds. Angela just didn't have the cardio or the footwork to nullify and keep her away. So the key here in this fight basically is on the feet. Rose needs to be able to move. She needs to be able to angle off. She needs to be able to get out of the way of these shots. But there also is the takedown threat, because Andrade can take her down. But as I said, Andrade has to be careful with that high crotch, because I would not be surprised if I see Rose on her back if she goes for that and she kind of messes up the slam in transition and Rose manages to get on her back. You do not want kind of lanky Rose on your back. So yeah, I think the plan will be to try and pressure and cut Rose off. If that isn't working, she'll go to plan B, which will be to mix in the takedowns and try and win the fight that way. Basically what she done against Tecia Torres. I mean, even Claudia Gadelha started really well against Andrade on the feet. She was landing some big shots, but she ended up getting taken down, and that's when the tide turned with the ground and pound, and Gadelha gassed like she always does. Rose coming off back-to-back wins over Joanna Jędrzejczyk. The last fight was very competitive. I bet on Rose in the last fight, and I thought the fight was done going into round 5. Joanna had won rounds 3 and 4. Momentum was with her. Everyone questions Rose's mental side of the game, and I just thought she came out hard in round 5, and she won round 5. Really showed mental toughness there to take that 5th round. So that was big for me, for Rose to come out and win that. The kind of back against the wall, momentum against her. She'd lost the last 2 rounds, but she came out and retained that title. So yeah, I mean, very impressive performances against Joanna, but this is just a style she's not seen before. So, you know, how is she going to cope under the kind of pressure that Jéssica's going to set? And the worry with Rose as well is she does slow down. We saw it against Karolina Kowalczyk. I mean, Karolina was landing huge knees in the clinch to the body that may have contributed there. But she slowed in the rematch with Jędrzejczyk as well. You definitely saw her pace drop off after the first 2 rounds. Now, she done really well to win that 5th round, but if she starts to slow against Andrade is relentless, and she can go hard. I mean, we haven't seen her go 5 rounds yet, but we did against Joanna, and it was I mean, all one-sided. But it wasn't that Andrade slowed down; she was just outclassed. But we've seen Andrade set a ridiculous pace across 3 rounds. I've got no reason to think she can't set that pace across 5 rounds. So I have to go with Andrade here. I just think she's got more paths to victory. She's got to stand up. She can try and press her Rose. I don't know how that's going to play out, especially early. Rose might cause her problems on the feet early. I think as Rose starts to slow down, if she does slow down, and as a bettor, I always am very reluctant to bet on someone hoping the opponent slows down. It's a very dangerous way of betting. But I do foresee Rose slowing down in this fight if it goes to 5 rounds, because the pace is going to be hellacious. And so I can see Andrade having more and more success on the feet as the fight wears on. And like I said, if things aren't going that well for her on the feet early, she's got the takedowns. She can take Rose down, no doubt in my mind. She's extremely powerful. She's got solid takedowns. Rose's takedown defence is at 45%, but as I said, she needs to be careful with that high crotch lift that she doesn't end up with Rose on her back. When she's putting her down, she needs to make sure she's got Rose flat down, the legs are cleared, and she isn't giving Rose an opportunity to climb onto her back. So paths to victory for me favour Andrade. Cardio favours Andrade. Rosa will have to fight the perfect fight here, like Joanna did when she fought Andrade, and just with her cardio, I don't know if she can do it. I can't see her. I mean, I know she put Joanna away, but I think Joanna was really dehydrated. I can't see her power really faulting Andrade or kind of putting her off course here. So I mean, I'm not overly confident, but I am going to pick Andrade to win the title and be the new women's champion here in the strawweight division. I think she can either get a late stoppage once Rose starts to slow down, or she'll win a decision. But I mean, I'm kind of thinking back to the Guidella fight here. When Guidella slowed down, it was absolute savagery from Andrade. So if she slows, I can see a late stoppage either on the feet, just wilting Rose, or just from ground and pound, like what she was unloading on Guidella. It's in Brazil as well. No, I think Rose apparently asked for it, but that's a cauldron you're going into there, and you know, how tough is she mentally? Is she mentally prepared for that Brazilian partisan crowd? Because that's probably the most hostile atmosphere you find in MMA. So I'm gonna go with Andrade to I think to get a late stoppage. But yeah, no, I was gonna say I find the more I'm talking out loud, the more I'm finding it difficult for Rose to win this fight, because I just think even if she's losing on the feet, she can go to them takedowns. But we have seen Andrade caught from the bottom before. Now, I mean, I know it was up at 135, but we did see, I think it was Marion Renault catch her from the bottom. So, I mean, it's 135 is 4 years ago, but you know, she's got to be careful from top position. Raquel Pennington, it's up at 135, but Raquel Pennington submitted her as well. She's completely different at 115, but you know, Rose is very long, gangly, she's got good submission skills, so she's got to be careful. I think the plan, if I was Andrade, the plan for me would definitely be to try and tire Rose out, just relentless pressure, even if I'm losing the first couple of rounds, just tire her out, make her work hard. So yeah, I'm going to go with Andrade to win a late stoppage there. So that's a wrap for this card, guys. As I said, we're 12-2 on the last 14 UFCs. Members that bet £100 or $100 per unit are £7,000 or dollars in profit in 2019. I'm aiming for people with $100 or pound unit sizes to win 20 grand this year, or £20,000 or $20,000. That's my target for them guys, which I think would be a great return, and that is combining our pre-betting and live betting service. So have a look at the website, prommabetting.com. hopefully we can start making our way towards the £8,000 or dollars profit line this week. Picks are with members already. I sent them out really early for this card. I think I've got maybe one or two little plays to add, but the kind of crux of our night is with members already. So yeah, please sign up, guys. I've got room for, I think I can fit 3 live betting new members in for this weekend on the server I'm using. So I'm going to have to expand to a bigger one at some point because the room's just getting full. So yeah, I've got 3 spaces available. So if you want to register, check out the website and sign up. I'll send you a link to the Discord. Just let me know your username. I'll put all this in an email anyway. Then I'll add you to the list and we can make some money on Saturday night. So yeah, good luck everyone, and I'll be back for next week's UFC, and then I think after that we've got a 2-week break.